Hey guys, sorry, I had to take a break, but nature called. Anyway, as for the last part, I'm sorry for jetting out, but nature called, as it happens for all of us. After what I told some of you, what do you think? My hope is that you guys actually have something to say to me or have things to say. Um, because my hope is actually to not only make the disability community unified, no matter the issue, no matter the diagnosis. Facts are facts. Yeah, some of us have visual aids to say that you have what you have. Others put up with funny you don't look. I'm one of them. And it's not right. And it's not kosher with me. It is up to us as a community to not only teach each other what each other has, but it also is a way to teach society what we have and what we go through concerning our issues and how we see the world. What I see is Edmonton is blind and ignorant. How I know is because I get liability thrown at me every time I try and get a job, especially at interviews. What I get is if I should be beginning stage of a meltdown, which is with conjunction with what I have diagnosed, which is ADHD and autism. Because my brain is wired in such a way, I cannot take in all the information my visual and hearing sensories give. So essentially, what my brain does is very similar to a computer when it comes to having a meltdown. It shuts down. So not only is it debilitating, but it's like a black hairy beast that takes over your body, and all you can do is watch the mayhem. And then once it's gone, you're stuck cleaning up the mess or the thing that monster left behind, and you're left embarrassed. And often I have to leave the situation that is causing it, especially when it begins. For me, that is embarrassing, especially when someone goes to my husband in public and asks why I had to leave so soon, or why does she act that way? Why is she the way she is? You know what? Here's the problem. You have no control over meltdown. You have no control over what's going on. You can see what's going on, but there is nothing you can do about it. When you see a kid in the store and they're having a temper tantrum, well, to you it may look like that, but what if the kid had what I have? Kids cannot interpret, even on a normal scale, the world for which they see, because they do not have the experience or the ability to interpret the world around them. All they can do is react, such as a temper tantrum is, due to being tired or otherwise. For us, it is a simple matter of a breakdown of mental faculty for which information is going in and it's too fast and too much. For that causes, like any computer, a total shutdown because the wiring in our brain is malfunctioning. That doesn't mean I'm broken. It means that it is wired differently. So much so that certain things affect it. So therefore, I cannot process the information properly. I mean, take a computer for once. How many windows, how many commands can you give a computer before it crashes? Well, for those of you that are as old as the hills like I am and remember the early 80s when the old Tandy or Commodore computers came out and you had to execute through means of a old tape device and on computer, what commands that you needed to in order to play things like Megabug or Frogger. I know that's like 40-year-old type technology, but you know what? Those old computers crashed often because you gave it too many commands. Well, my mind is very much like that. And when it comes to workplaces, yeah, just because you are the way you are doesn't mean your brain works the same way. Therefore, a lot of people hand you too much on your plate, and next thing you know, crash. Well, that's how it is. That's my life. That is what it is. All I want to do is unify Alberta when it comes to disability, because we are a fractured society, or a fractured part of society, for which our government has segregated and said, because you have this, you belong over there. Well, no. A disability is a disability is a disability. It doesn't matter if it's physical, mental, or invisible. We all have needs. We all have the right to accessibility. Right now, what I see is accessibility being catered to the more physical attributes, but nothing for me, nothing for those that have what I have. If you have autism and it's severe enough, well, guess what? We have places that are more than happy to facilitate the need because their issues are more apparent. These are people that may never leave home or leave a group home or whatever the case. But yet, there is 40-year-olds, very much like me and Gonda, who live at home because they cannot function because there is nothing out there to help them. So, many of us in our 30s take our lives because we don't have the help we need. These are done through studies. Case in point, there's a lady in Red Deer, I forgot her name long time ago, who posted on one of my little things that stated that her son, 18, is now an alcoholic, has autism, and invisible needs, because that is his only escape, and she's at her wit's end. She doesn't know how to help him. I can understand this to a degree, because when I was that age, I fell into the wrong crowds, the wrong people. I was ready to please everyone just to be a friend. But unfortunately, I also got married to abuse, both drug and physical. All because I also was watching my mom be very sick with MS at the time. I remember it plain as day. That being said, I was 17 by the time I moved out. I was a dropout because I was being passed through the system because people thought I was too disabled for whatever reason. The thing is, back when I was young, doctors told my mom in front of me, psychologists, doctors, people of profession who didn't know what I had, gave me the diagnosis of NOS, not otherwise specified. Back then, it was still ASD and ADHD, but it was little known, because what was known, they considered it as a male's disability. So therefore, in order for me to get diagnosed in any way, shape, or form, I would have to have a set of balls. That's why girls are diagnosed so late in life. When I was a kid, they had no resources. My mom had to fight for everything that I got throughout my school years. And because of her hard work and because of the way she lived, she now faces physical mobility issues due to what she has, due to the medication she had to take. So people, understand the history of my mother. I will come to her defense if anybody calls her down. This woman was and it still is my only support other than my husband. And if she goes, it'll be a sad day. She has failing health because her back is gone. The doctors won't address a lot of her issues because they would rather wait until she is pretty much paralyzed, which means that she has to watch how she walks, because one step could mean her becoming either dead or a quadriplegic. My mom is a very smart woman in her own right and a very formative woman in her own right. Do not deny her this. She deserves the respect that we all do, that we all want, and that we all deserve. We deserve programs that are put in place to help all of our issues, no matter if they're physical or comorbid issues, whether they're invisible or not, whether one has to use aids or not. I am not willing to put things on my head to symbolize that I have autism through means of huge sunglasses to dim the sun or noise-canceling earmuffs. To me, that is embarrassing. And I'm not willing to put myself through that. It's bad enough I have what I have, and I may suffer a meltdown in public and have people ask me, why is she this? Why is she that? Why did she leave? My coping mechanism is to leave whatever situation is causing the issue in order to dull down my monster, because I have no control over it when it happens. I can see what's going on, fully aware, but I have no control. And when you lose control, it is very debilitating because it is embarrassing and all you want to do is hide. Because that part of you leaves a wake behind that you have to clean up. And you're forever saying sorry for something you had no control. We are as humans. We deserve better in life. We don't deserve to be treated any less than what others take for granted. And if you feel the same way as I do, then let's bring a community together, because we all deserve basic human rights. We all have needs. We all have things that need to be addressed, no matter our situation, no matter what we're going through. The facts are facts. There are people in the disability area that are being denied services due to IQ tests and PDD. There are mothers screaming because their children are not getting the right services because schools deny that, all on account of how they look or because they're high functioning. You know what? I use high functioning as a coined term to people of no disability to describe that I'm able to hide certain factors about my issues. That being said, I get to play T for the rest of my life to be considered acceptable to society norms for which I am blind. That is not right. People should be allowed to be themselves. I should not have to be any less or any more than what you see before you. Does this make sense to you? Type yes or no. If you don't like hearing this, too bad. I am me, and I am not going to change. Because if I did that to suit others' needs, then the ramifications in my marriage would suffer. Because I cannot be a wife if I have to take all my energy to pretend to be something I'm not. When I can easily redirect that energy to my marriage and my husband, who loves me, and I love him. And I will do anything, even risk not ever having a job, just so that I have a happy marriage. Unfortunately, these days, it takes two to make a household work. I can't get a job because I get liability thrown at me. My accessibility rights are denied every time because of the way I look. Is that fair? No. But because people have visual aids that in certain disabilities for which dictate what they have or what diagnosis they may have. Or they have a limb that doesn't work due to epilepsy or other things. As in visual signs of impairments such as deformities or whatever caused by illness or what have you. People see that, so they're ready to jump off the bandwagon and help that person get what they need in terms of accessibility. But if they have comorbid issues in the mental factors, the question I ask you is, how much of your needs are not being met? I tell you, as much as I have PDD, none of mine are being met. Because what I get is an HCA staff. People that are meant to be with those that have severe needs or mobility issues. How I know this is because I am a caregiver for someone who has multiple sclerosis. Because they are through AHS self-managed care. Now, the other factor is someone who is as vocal and as articulate as I am and is smart enough and coherent enough to understand what they have due to their own research on what they have, who can actually facilitate their own needs and care concerning their issues, should also be allowed to be in the family self-managed care area of PDD and be allowed to dictate, not be forced to be put through agencies and programs for which do not fit the criteria for which they need or have. What is available does not fit. As much as the agency I am through is wonderful, they don't fit. I don't need someone to wipe my butt or dress me or clean my home. I know all of those. And I'm willing to teach young kids how to do it because I've been doing it for years. Irony is, I too need help, but in the vocational sense. Excuse me while I move my computer. When you have a program that bases their ideals and their way of doing things on individual need, that means your needs are addressed on the basis of your diagnosis and your interest, your humanity, who you are. Not a funnel system for where you start in a room watching videos and pretending to do scenarios for which may or may not exist in real life, for which you live every day. Often these programs that are funneled are not geared to what you need, as many in these little group scenarios that are put out there by programs do not fit someone who is in my situation, someone that is independent and cognizant of their issues. It is what it is. So therefore, you run through this system, and quite often, not only is it over a year to get into one of these programs, but often, once you're done a program like this, they'll funnel you through to whatever other program that might fit your need or might not. Quite often not, because they'll place you with people that are worse off than you. Another embarrassing thing. I hate that. And then on top of that, often you are forced to go and wait over a year for the employment sector of a program for which, again, may not fit your need, because often you do not have the services necessary to go on the job to help you train, for which, again, I'm being denied. Because I need hands-on training, because I am a visual, audio, tactile learner in that order. I see, I hear, I do. Pick one. Because they all are a part of my learning process. I don't do well with books because words, as much as I can read, don't add up in my brain. They don't make sense. I often have to spend an hour reading one sentence to get the point. Unless somebody reads it to me, then I get the point. For me, repeat is often the case, because my neurological cognitive deficits do not allow for new things to develop. Because I know this all so well. I am born this way. So therefore, how things have been described to me about what I have. How one is born is where and how they develop throughout life. Where their brain has developed and matured is where it stays until they reach 25 to 35. And like any mental or person with any mental faculty would know, they don't have to be educated to know this. And as I've seen personally throughout my years as a caregiver, once a person reaches about 35, their brain starts to decline when it comes to cognitive and neurological factors and development. Because of genetic traits and aging circumstance. It is what it is, people. Your brain will not develop any more than what it is given. For those of you that have normal cognitive factors for which society deems as normal, as in no mental disability whatsoever, no medical diagnosis that indicate neurological deficiencies or cognitive deficiencies. This is what society thinks will happen, is that I will suddenly heal if they make me try and develop things that otherwise do not come natural. All I can do is emulate, pretend, and then I'm forced to play T, and then my marriage suffers. Is this right? No. Should this be allowed? No. Is this fair to you? Is it fair to me? No. People should be allowed to be as they are intended to be. And have the right to accessibility for the need, for the reasons given. If your diagnosis says, I have a chair and I have a need for an HCA, then that's where HCA should go. If someone is like me and their diagnosis says they have need for a disability skills coach, or someone that is properly educated within the disabilities community, for which can help you in everyday life, for whatever issue is affecting you to not function properly. then this should be addressed. We should be not only a unified body, but we also, in the disability sector, for those that work in the sector, should also be unified as a disability community, not fractured and say one silo specializes in this over here, another one specializes in this over here. We should have one. You can picture this as a huge tree. We have branches going everywhere. But you, as a thing that is supposed to be a developing program for which helps people or a society or a part of society function properly and are trained to do so, need a main trunk. You cannot have a bunch of tree branches and expect them to survive without having a main thing that supports you. Yes, have your little silos and your specialties, but come together. And instead of competing for clients, work together. That way you address all the person's needs, all the person's interests, you address the person as a whole. I believe in cohesion. I believe in not only independence, but also advocacy. I believe in community. I believe in family. I believe in team, and there is no I in team. I believe in unity. I believe that in order for true advocacy and programs to work together, there has to be a trunk or a main surface for everyone to come together. A hub that is safe for someone like me, but also develop services that helps everyone on a need basis built for individuals so that they can function in society. And that equals vocational programs that operate on individualized services built around client need. That envelops cognitive or physical needs being addressed. It also envelops diagnosis, interest, age, ability, both cognitive, health, neurological, and chronological age. Because trust me, we need to bring down the PDD test for IQ. We need to develop laws that prohibit government from ever touching programs and resources that help us all, which also implements plans and structures for which, that if there should ever be a cut, that the cuts do not affect services and programs that are needed to help us, or services out in the areas of health, both mental and physical, such as doctors, nurses, healthcare. Because all of these gambits we need. That also includes your children's education. We need laws put in place to protect us and give us the right to accessibility no matter the diagnosis, no matter the need, no matter the issue, no matter the health or age. Because these services should be lifelong. Because your issues, hate to say it, will change in time due to age, due to genetic. And I am not kidding you. I am a caregiver. I know this, and I've seen it firsthand, working in nursing homes, people's private homes, and for myself. And for some of us, as blind as you are to not see it for yourselves, maybe we should take a very good look at it. Because what you have ain't going to be in, say, 20 years. My biggest fear is who's going to take care of me, as I've said. If my husband should go, who do I fall on or rely on when it comes to the inability for me to bank or navigate a system that I don't understand? How blind is our government to overlook these factors? It is a need, not a want or a desire. I need to live. I need to be accepted. I need services for which help me through life in such a way that I don't need to magically develop neurons just to be accepted. I need to be me. And I hope that all of you out there understand that you need to be you. And it is up to us to teach this to society, that their comments and their way of thinking is what is bringing up barriers for people like us. And it is up to us to bring down those barriers through education and teaching tolerance, patience with ourselves, because we are people too. We deserve to be heard as much as anyone else. Just because we have certain issues that need certain things in order to live does not mean we are not human. And we need to be treated as such. If you guys have any questions, ask. I can't do two things at once, like talk and type at the same time. It's like walking and chewing bubble gum for some. Donda, if you don't mind, maybe you can do some typing for the questions that come. I'd be more than happy to answer in this video, but I don't do very much typing-wise. I can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, but I can talk my ears off. Or your ears off, whatever. Anyway, thanks, girl. I hope you're having a good one. What I hope is to have a main hub that is safe for all of us. And for that hub to become a part of every single community for which everyone and everything can come together as one. We need to work as a team. Yes, we have little factions of advocacy going on all over the place. Well, why not make it one big faction? And that's why I created the Hummingbird Project for Alberta. And I invite voice and everyone that have all these little gambits everywhere to join me. So, with that said, I've got things to do. Thanks a lot, Gonda, and I will talk at you guys later. Perhaps maybe you guys have more questions or concerns or whatever. Thanks.